Hey guys, Eitan, welcome to my brand new show, Breaking Bread, the show where I use food as a vehicle to drive open, honest, and thought-provoking dialogue about the most pressing issues going on in the world today with some of the most influential people I know. Today I have the absolute honor of being in the kitchen with YouTuber, comedian, actress, New York Times best-selling author, UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, and not only the first woman to host a late-night show in over 30 years, but the only current woman of color doing so, someone who has stayed through it all, the most kind, genuine, and talented person that I get to call a friend, Lilly Singh.
Oh my god, I never know how to react during an intro. I'm just like, oh my yes, oh my god, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so proud of you. This is incredible. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so I asked Lilly to be in the first episode. I feel like there is no one better. As you guys know, as Lilly know, Lilly has been someone I've looked up to my whole life. I cooked for Lilly a few years ago and we became friends, and I think through meeting you, I've only become a bigger fan. I think just knowing how genuine and kind and real you are on camera and off has only made me a bigger fan and a bigger supporter. So I am super excited to be in the kitchen with you today.
And let me just tell you, you are so talented and incredible. I remember the first time you cooked for me and my team were blown away. So I'm thrilled to be here because food is the way to my heart. So let's do this.
Yes. And now, so when we were texting earlier, I wanted to know what's like a nostalgic food that you like. And I was ready out here to cook like onion bhaji. So like, you know I love Indian food.
And then you learned that I'm so basic.
Yes, and Lilly hit me with like, as a kid I ate mac and cheese, grilled cheese, pizza. And I'm like, delicious. So we're gonna take the grilled cheese you ate as a kid and we're gonna do bougie, over-the-top grilled cheese with a crown.
Well, thank you for accommodating because I was so basic. I'm like, bagel bites, I guess. A diverse palate she has, a diverse palate, clearly.
Clearly. So, we're gonna do some things to make it a little bit bougier. So I figured let's first start with the cooking. Then when we're eating, we'll have some great conversations
about
the incredible work you've done for gender equity. So first off, let's get our bread. Now I heard you actually got sourdough bread also.
I did. So basically when I was sent the recipe and the equipment, it said like sourdough bread, and also I'm like, do people have these things? So I did order some sourdough bread. So I do have that. Yes.
Great. All right, so we're just gonna now cut some slices of bread. You could do as thick or thin slices as.
See, you can tell he's more bougie because he's slicing a loaf of bread, whereas mine is already sliced, and so I
sliced. I mean, that's all good. All right, awesome. So add a little bit of butter into your pan. Have you been cooking a lot in the new house?
I actually have. I've been cooking a lot during quarantine. I feel like you. I don't know. I feel like I've been doing great. My setup is clearly not as nice as yours. You have this rustic outdoor camping situation happening, but okay, this is a lot of butter. We love the butter. Melt.
Yeah, we do love butter.
I think we're good. I think we're good with the butter.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna place our first piece of bread into the pan.
Okay.
I'm gonna get that nice and toasty. Now we're going to take our onions that we sauteed already.
Yep.
So you can come over here. And we're gonna add in a little bit of truffle oil into there.
Okay, so this is the thing. I'm definitely not bougie enough to have truffle oil, so I don't have it.
So you're telling me the girl that graces the cover of Vogue India casually owns part of a soccer team and just bought a new beautiful house can't get truffle butter?
Absolutely correct. I also Googled it and it's like $14.99 and I was like, no thanks.
Perfect, bowl of cheese, and now place some of your cheese on top of your piece of bread.
How much cheese should I be putting on this?
However, I feel like you're all about self-love, so lots of cheese.
You know what? You're right. I'm putting lots of cheese.
Then on top of that cheese, we're going to add on, just spoon on some of those onions that we sauteed earlier.
Yes, I'm using my hands for everything.
All right, now you want to do on top of the onions a little sprinkle of a little more cheese so that it sticks to the bread, but not too much.
You say not too much, but what I'm hearing is as much as I want.
Oh yeah, well basically, it's kind of just like, not too much, but also too much.
Yeah, good,
And then finally, your other piece of bread.
Okay.
On top of there.
Boom. Yes! I can't believe I'm cooking with sourdough bread. This is the first time I've ever done this. I feel so famous and like rich and like I should be wearing a gown.
Basically, I mean, it's literally just bread, but same as regular bread, basically.
Oh my god, that looks so good.
All right, I'm gonna flip mine as well.
It looks so good.
Ooh, that is looking
I'm fully a chef.
Good. Yeah, you're a chef. We'll add it to the list to the intro. We can redo the intro if you want. Awesome. All right, let's check on our bread. Sometimes I get distracted while cooking. I get too excited and then I burn, which you don't want to do.
All right. Mine's pretty smoky, so I think I'm gonna I think it's good.
Okay, so now you're gonna wanna transfer it onto either a plate or something, but we're actually not done because we need to make a cheese crown.
So when I was sent the picture of this cheese crown, I looked at it and I'm like, this is 100% something I do not have the skill to do, but we're gonna see.
Well, that's my job. I need to teach you, so we will get you to be able to.
Is your
let's go with
pan
that
smoking
flame.
too? No? Okay, cool.
All right, this is the part that's a little bit difficult. We're going to make a cheese crown.
Okay.
I did not invent this idea, but I am a big enthusiast of it.
Okay.
You're going to take some cheese and place it straight onto the pan.
Oh, for real? Do I add more oil or no?
No. Straight onto the pan, kind of like a lattice formation, so you still want to have some areas that don't have cheese.
Doing it.
Alrighty.
Good. And then immediately, I'm gonna rush this part. You were the first one, the other one. Now I'm a little quicker. Place your grilled cheese into there.
Okay.
Like this. I'll show you on Zoom here. Into the center.
Oh, like that. Oh, okay. I did it totally wrong. 1 second.
This is the stressful part.
I'm extremely
Sweating.
stressed.
Yeah, I am sweating out here, and it's not just because I'm outside in 90-degree weather. All right, okay, I'm gonna do mine. Mine's looking good.
Okay, I think mine still needs
go.
to be done. It's still pretty yellowy.
Oh, all right. So fine, this will be for demonstration purposes. You lift it up like this,
Yeah.
and then you just let it hang for like a few minutes. Not even a few minutes, like 30 seconds. You got it, you got it. All right, now we're just gonna hold it. So we'll talk for about a minute, and then we'll flip them. Are you ready to see my flip, Lily? Ready?
Yes.
3. This is the most stressful part. 3, 2, 1, bam! Look at that. I'm gonna come closer to the camera so you can see.
Cool. What?
Check that out.
I'm shook at how cool that is.
Juicy grilled cheese.
I'm so
The
shook.
pressure's on.
I definitely am gonna have a one-sided crown, but that's okay. I ate too much of my cheese. You ready? Here we go. I'm gonna show it to you after I'm done. I think I got
How's it look? Oh, you got a little crown.
Oh my! I am shocked that this worked out. Truly,
Chef Lily is in the house today.
I'm shook. Wow! I had zero faith. I keep forgetting to turn the stove off. I had zero faith in my ability.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Look!
She's a chef.
I'm shook.
Let's cut it in half.
I don't want it to break. Don't break, crown. Oh yeah.
Look
This
at
might
that.
be the best thing I ever made.
Check out that cheesiness. All right, you see that? How's your cheesiness looking?
Pretty good. I think it looks great.
Oh, that looks fire. All right, are we ready to take a bite at the same time?
Yes! Let's do it. You ready? Cheers. Yo. Yo. This is so bomb.
Yeah,
It's so good. It tastes like royalty.
good lunch.
Oh my goodness. You see, this is the type of food I like. Basic food that has a crown and makes me feel sophisticated. I need more of this. Oh, it's so good. I'm blown away.
Alrighty, so now that we have cooked the food, we have quite literally broke bread together. Your bread was already broken, but I literally broke the bread. We are going to discuss something that is a big passion of yours, that through following you and seeing all your content and everything that you've done for it has made me a really big advocate, and something that I see myself being an advocate for the rest of my life, which is gender inequity, especially around education. I recently just did a TEDx talk called Why Every Teenage Boy Should Be a Feminist, which unfortunately
I love
is controversial
that.
to say.
I love that so much.
Thank you. And in there, I actually talked about how I became a feminist and how I even realized that there was such a thing as gender inequity, because as a little kid, we're kind of sheltered and the only reality we know is the one around us. And the only reality I knew was that my mom and my dad were equals as far as I knew. My mom runs a whole math department at my high school. My dad works. They both take care of childcare and everything. So I spoke about how I didn't even know for a while, and I couldn't even comprehend that being a feminist wasn't a given. I just didn't even know there was a concept. So when did you realize that there was such a thing as gender inequity and that women were not treated the same as men everywhere in the world?
You know, honestly, it was a journey, and I always like to be really honest about this because I don't think it's the right message to send, or I just think it's dishonest to say I always was like very aware of this and I was a feminist right off the bat. That's not true for me, at least. I, was that person that was very confused growing up that thought, oh, why do we need feminism, everyone should just be treated equally, not realizing that that's actually what feminism is. So my journey on YouTube and my journey traveling really helped me understand exactly what feminism is, exactly the causes it fights for. And that was facilitated a lot by meeting other feminists, meeting other people doing great work through UNICEF, through We Charity, through Room to Read, through all these organizations. And I think what really for me was the moment where I thought, oh my goodness, this is like something I'm really passionate about, was honestly because of my travels. The first time I ever went to Kenya with We Charity, when you meet the girls there and see how much potential they have, and honestly, in ways, how much they're like me and how much they're like everyone else I know, yet have such little opportunity. I remember coming back home and thinking like, wow, all of my problems are first world problems, and I really cannot feel successful or content until these girls around the world have opportunities like I do. And so, especially coming from a South Asian community where there is a lot of sexism within the culture, it's just something I'm truly, really passionate about, because I do believe the world needs these girls to live out their full potential. They would do great things, great things if they just had the opportunity.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think what was most impactful for me was actually seeing that. And I think that was why I really think like you taking those trips and documenting it was so impactful, at least for me, and I'm sure many other people. One of the things you mentioned was one of the other things that I wanted to ask. In terms of growing up in a community where there are some gender inequities and women and men are not treated equally, I find myself as an 18-year-old who's becoming more independent, and really throughout I think all of high school and becoming a young adult, I've personally felt things that I've been taught in schools and taught to believe, and traditions that in my own community I feel like are uncomfortable for me, where I'm like, all right, like this is not really okay. Why are women not allowed to do this and men are allowed to do this? And I think for you, I feel like you've spoken about it, but I'd love to hear more. How did you navigate that in a respectful manner? Because I feel like one thing is, even if I might not agree with certain things that I'm taught to do or traditions, I always want to be respectful about it. And I don't want to be like, oh, this sucks, you're misogynistic. Because I truly believe a lot of people that do these traditions and perpetuate that, they're not necessarily misogynistic. They might just not realize. So how did you navigate that in a respectful and productive manner?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think that's something that's so important, especially when you're traveling to other countries, because it is so tempting to have this mentality of like, you're wrong, what you're doing is wrong, and you need to do X, Y, Z, but that is not at all productive, because you're talking to people just like us. And the example I always think of is, and this is like a little bit off topic, but it still shows my point, is we have a lot of judgments about other cultures, but if you went to India and said that you ate beef, they would look at you like you eat cows. And that's just a small example of how you are impacted by where you're raised. And so it's not as easy going somewhere else and saying, this is wrong, do it like this. It has to be done in a way where you acknowledge that that is the culture that's existed for so many years. It's a delicate topic. You can't just come in and say right and wrong, because very often there is no right and wrong, there's just different. So how I've personally navigated that space is more so than telling people do this and don't do this, I encourage people to ask questions. I think ultimately the underlying issue with a lot of traditions that are sexist is that they're never questioned. They're never thought about, because the answer is always, that's how it's always been. Like if I ask my mom, hey, why do we do things like this with women versus men? She'll say, that's always how it's been. And I can tell that she's never actually questioned why that is. So my thing when I speak to young girls is, why is it like that? Can it be a different way that's better for everyone? As opposed to going in and kind of saying, do this and do that. Specifically for me, I have a lot of issue with how there's different religions within India, but how a lot of wedding traditions are done. Instead of nagging everyone, I've done a few things. I've told my friends, some of my closest friends, that, hey, have you ever considered doing things this way? And if so, like, I would love to cover the cost of that. I've done that before. I have also, if there's an event I really disagree with, I just won't participate. I don't want them to stop and to disrupt their wedding, but I just won't participate in things I don't agree with. So I think it's about respecting people's choices, but also just encouraging people to learn and know that things can be a different way. And you're right, it is a really delicate thing. It's not as easy as going in there and claiming you know everything.
I think that's really cool, and a really like respectful and way that gets your point across and like stands true to your values, but isn't like, you're wrong, like yelling in the middle of the wedding, like this is sexist or things like that.
I don't think tradition has to be erased. I do think that it requires an upgrading sometimes to the times we live in. And so that's my 2 cents on that.
I think one of the most impactful things, at least that I think that you have done for me, has been showing people individuals and their own stories. Because I think especially during like the times now when you hear like 150,000 people dead, 4 million affected, these big numbers sometimes kind of like make things very untangible. But I really feel like that was something that was incredible, where it's like, here is a girl who has all the potential in the world if she's just given it and given opportunity and given education. So I'm guessing that's probably your answer, but what for you has been personally the most impactful thing that you've done in terms of gender inequity, education, kind of the many incredible things you've done in that space?
Honestly, this answer is always evolving for me. It's always, for me, goes down to the question of legacy. And this goes back to, like, and I've said this many times before, I feel like my goals have changed over time. You know, before my goals were X amount of subscribers, X amount of views, all this. And then I've traveled a lot, I've done a lot of great things in my life, and I feel like I have this perspective now of, what does any of this mean? Like, because I've learned that you can set any of those goals and you'll wake up the next day and you'll be like, all right, what's next? What's the next milestone of subscribers? What's the next milestone of views? You will never achieve a number where you feel like, I did it. That mentality doesn't apply when you're helping people. I've never experienced a day when I help 10 people and I wake up the next morning and I think, all right, I gotta help 11 now. Like, it doesn't work that way, you know what I mean? And so for me, what I find most impactful and most fulfilling is just impacting people's lives so that when I'm gone and I don't matter anymore, they still have the impact of me inspiring them or me giving them an opportunity, whatever that is. And honestly, I'm not even just saying this because I'm talking to you. I genuinely feel this way. Like, the fact that you are a feminist and you're doing all this great work, I consider that one of my greatest impacts and one of the things I find most fulfilling. Because I always think about this. I always think that, you know, growing up, I idolized Dwayne Johnson. I think everyone knows that at this point. I got the chance to meet him. He's become like a mentor. Because of his inspiration, I was able to make YouTube videos. I was able to stand for hustling, able to stand for all these things that were right. And in some small way, not that I think I'm Dwayne Johnson, but I've always thought, wow, if one of my fans goes on to do some great things and like helps people in the world because I inspired them, that's really meaningful, and that's what you're doing. Like, if you're telling me that I inspired you and that you're a fan of mine, and I'm even getting emotional, and now you're out here and you're cooking and you're so successful and you have all this talent and you're an advocate for all these great things, like, what else could I want? That is truly what I think the best impact you can give is. You. Well, the answer is you.
Thank you. I'm speechless. Thank you. Well, this was so fun. I am so happy that got to cook. This was so fun.
I just need this to go on record to say, and please, everybody that's watching this right now, remember this moment. When you are even more big and famous, and you are the top chef of the world, and you have 7 shows and 7 cookbooks, I want you to remember the small people like me, and I still want you to cook for me. Capiche?
Yes, literally. Yes, I promise that. And as soon as it is safe to come to LA, trust me, we'll cook a whole feast.
I'm down. I am so down.
Awesome. So if you guys somehow are not already following Lilly, definitely go follow Lilly on all of her socials. I will link them down below on Instagram at Lilly and on Twitter at Lilly. By the way, you know I got at Eitan because I was like, all right, Lilly got at Lilly, I need at Eitan, and
yeah,
bam,
and you deserve it, and you deserve it.
We're part of the first, I think there's actually, it's called like the first name username club.
Oh, is it? Are we part of a club? Oh.
Yeah, exclusive club. So go follow Lilly if you haven't already. I will also link a bunch of the incredible videos and resources that Lilly has shared in the past about what you can do. The videos, her vlogs, about her trips there that we mentioned, all those things will be linked down below. If you haven't already, be sure to click the big red subscribe button. It's free to click, be the first one when I post new videos. Comment down below if you have any things to share about your journey to becoming a feminist, any experiences you have that can help other people learn. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button if you're watching. All right, I think I've covered all the YouTuber things.
Yeah, buy the merch, go to the website, swipe up, do all the things.
All of those things. All right, Lilly, thank you so much for cooking for me today. This was super fun.
I appreciate it. It's an honor.
All right, I guess we'll just finish eating our grilled cheese.
Bye.